Welcome to this edition of Almeria Update, your monthly guide to what's happening and what's next in beautiful, historic Almeria, Spain. And now, coming to you directly from Casa Vicki in Almeria, is our host, Jay Silver.
Welcome to this first edition of Almeria Update, where we focus on upcoming events and the fun things to do in Almeria, an historic and beautiful beachside town on Spain's gorgeous southeast Mediterranean coast. Our sponsor for today's show is Dream Vacation at Casa Vicki, a rental home in the center of Almeria's historic and cultural district. More on Casa Vicki in a while, but first, what's coming up in December? To answer that question, let's invite Casa Vicki's tour director, Mark Bryers, to join us. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Jay. Great to be here.
Hey, Mark, as this is our first episode of the Almeria Update, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm a former complex special needs teacher with a passion for the outdoors, history, culture, art, geology, food, and friendly people. I fell in love with Almeria in 2015 and now lived here for 15 months, enjoying everything that this unique area has to offer.
Now, I understand you've become something of a real expert on the history and culture of Almeria and the whole region, in fact. How did that happen?
Well, for a history buff with 1,500 books, I've bought 40 in Spanish since I've been here. This is my home now, and its history is fascinating. The surrounding area contains more than 6,000 years of history, 15 million years of recent geology, just over 500 years since a massive earthquake leveled the city. The Alcazaba was witness to it. The present cathedral rose from it. Parts of the Gran Mosquita survived it. The past 1,000 years has seen invasion, glory, tragedy, disaster, and disease befall Almeria. However, they're all yours to explore with us.
Okay, so now we want to focus on events coming up, especially around Christmas time. What can we expect to see?
December the 1st will be the grand lighting of the Christmas tree and the city lights. The opening of the Christmas market, followed by a spectacular show similar to the acrobatic Peter Pan musical of last year. Flamenco concerts begin thereafter, 4 to 6 large shows at the Maestro Padilla, the Emma, Teatro Cervantes, and other small street events which are really worth seeing. The ballet is coming in the form of the Christmas classic, The Nutcracker. Fireworks will be going off closer to Papa Noel, and of course, the cabalgata on the eve of the Three Kings ends the Christmas season.
You know, I'll tell you, Mark, last Christmas and the previous Christmas, because the 2 years I've been in Almeria, were just so special for me. I remember a couple of years ago going swing dancing in the Cathedral Square, which is just, maybe 200 meters or less than that north of my house. And then walking around town, and those events that you were talking about, they seemed almost spontaneous, but there were dramatic shows, there were music events, everything was so alive in Almeria during the Christmas time. I was so impressed. I'm sure our guests will love it. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's so much to see. The Christmas market is a spectacle to see on its own. The Christmas lights up around the cathedral and the music that happens there 3 times a day. And we have, last year, I went to a flamenco event just off Calle Granada in the street, food and drink and 4 people dancing their hearts out on stage. It was fantastic. And there was about 2,000 people there.
And where did you see the Nutcracker? Was that at the Cervantes Theater?
I think it's at Maestro Padilla this year.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it's exciting wherever it is, so we'll look forward to that. Now, besides what goes on in the holiday season, let's learn a little bit more from you about the museum and cultural sites in Almeria.
A must for your first time visit here is the Museum of Almeria, Centro Interpretación Patrimonial, for the story of Almeria and the fantastic views over the city.
Wait, I'm going to stop you. Almeria, now that's Arabic.
Yes.
And so Almeria's name comes from the Arabic?
Yes.
Okay.
Some people
Sorry to
say it
interrupt.
is the mirror of the sea, but it's actually for the watchtower, because there was a Phoenician watchtower before the Alcazaba was built.
Wow, and the Alcazaba is the 1,000-year-old Moorish fort at the top of the hill looking out over all of Almeria.
That's right. And what does it mean? Do you know?
No, Alcazaba, I have no idea. What does it mean?
The sugarcane.
Really?
Yes,
Where
so
they
it's
grow
hard
it?
on the outside, sweet on the inside.
I see.
And the joke is that the Spanish say La Alcazaba. Anything with al in it is Muslim, means the. So it's the sugarcane.
Right, okay. Sorry, I interrupted you. But before you go on, I just want to mention that one of the newest museums, and I find among the most exciting, is the Museum of Spanish Realism, which is literally a few meters from Casa Vicki.
Yes. Yeah, I've been there 3 times. And it's nice to have a realistic art in Almeria. We have Donna Partica and we have Espacio Dos. They have a selection. Espacio Dos is more abstract. There are some very good shows and expositions in Donna Partica. But like I say, we have 3 superb art galleries. The other thing to go and see is the Museum of Archaeology.
You know, I've never been to the Museum of Archaeology. What's it about?
Oh, it's superb. Louis Sirat came here, a Belgian, as part of the English, German and Belgian groups that came here to exploit iron ore, got more into archaeology, and eventually his whole house over at Herreras in Valle de Almanzora was just full of artifacts. The museum is dedicated to him and the Agar culture. They brought farming to Europe and spread from Almeria through the rest of Europe 6,000 years ago.
Well, even today they say Almeria is Europe's breadbasket.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I know you have more to say about museums.
A new museum, the workshop of Antonio Torres, complements the Museum of the Guitar. Antonio Torres being the person that invented the modern Spanish guitar. La Casa del Cine predates the arrival of the world of film, now so well known in Almeria. Once a family home, it was renovated after the Civil War and hosted many distinguished guests of the theatre before directors and actors lived there. The museum within dedicates its space to the memory of John Lennon's stay in 1966. And to
I
all
think one of the things I love about that museum is the statue of John Lennon that's right outside. You can sit right next to it.
Yes. Yeah, he filmed
fun.
How I Won the War here in 1966 with Michael Crawford and 1 or 2 other people.
Is it true that he conceived or wrote Strawberry Fields while he was there?
Yes, it was. Yes, he did.
Fascinating. Tell us more about motion pictures in Almeria.
Okay. The museum within dedicates its space to the memory of John Lennon's stay in 1966 and all the famous films produced in the city and the province. Lawrence of Arabia, the Dollar Trilogy with Clint Eastwood, Shalako with Sean Connery, Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Exodus and Game of Thrones were all filmed locally.
Fascinating, absolutely fascinating to think Almeria is the same. Well, Game of Thrones was so recent.
Yes.
Are we expecting more films, more crews to come into Almeria soon?
Absolutely. I mean, my good friend Yolanda, she's been working on a German-produced Western at Fort Bravo. She's currently in Valencia doing the studio shots. She worked on House of the Dragon seasons 1 and 2, and the prep for season 3 starts in January, and the word is that they'll be filming in March here.
Fascinating. Well, out in the desert, I mean, we know our climate in Almeria is a desert climate, but there really is a desert just outside of town, and there are theme parks about motion pictures there, right?
Absolutely. You have the original site of Once Upon a Time in the West, which is known as Western Leone. You have Mini Hollywood, which was built for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one which is specifically for tourists, which is Fort Bravo. But all around those areas, behind Mini Hollywood, we were walking on Thursday out into Valle de Bujo, the Valley of the Owl. And that's where Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade tank chase was filmed, where the battle at the beginning of Exodus happens, where the Egyptians attack the Hittite camp. And then right at the far end, it's where Daenerys addresses the Dothraki and the dragon first appears and scares all the Dothraki's horses.
Mark, are you able to take people on tours to many of these places?
Absolutely. Walking routes can be customized to your interests. We have in town La Ruta de Cine around the city, churches since the Reconquista, where were once the walls, the Muslim city, the Audio Barrier Walk, 16 stops, a visit to Lachanka and Pescaderia, which even the locals don't generally go to. 1,000 years of history. Tapas routes, the 1891 flood, and the earthquake of 1518 and 1522, which I can do on a Sunday morning because then we can get access to Iglesia San Juan and see the Qibla wall and the Mihrab, which survived from the Grand Mosquito.
One of the things I just love about the location of Casa Vicki is we are so close to so many historic things, but also right in the middle of the tapas culture.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
You walk out the door and you literally trip over tapas restaurants.
Yeah, Casa Puga, very popular. Everybody queues outside for that. I quite like Esmeralda in Calle de la Tienda. And I know the waiters in there, they see me and high five and what have you. We were in there, when was it? Sunday.
Well, we have La Hormiguita is just a few meters from Casa Vicki, and we
that's very good food.
Our guests are able to order meals directly from La Hormiguita as well. So the last thing I want to ask you is, if people want to take a tour with you, what should they do?
If you fancy a walk, tell the staff and we can meet. Have a coffee, discuss briefly what you'd like to see, and off we go. I can mix and match anything you like.
That's fantastic, Mark. I'm sure our guests will really love doing that. I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm sure we will be doing more of these updates together because we want to look at what happens in Almeria every month, and you can tell us about them and how we get to see them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jay. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure, too. Take care, Mark.
Cheers.
In closing, I'd like to speak to each of you directly. Casa Vicki is my place, and I want to invite you, your friends, your family, to my place to take your dream vacation at Casa Vicki and enjoy the very soul of Spain. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you at Casa Vicki. Until then, and until our next Almeria update, this is Jay Silver saying thanks for watching, and adios, mis amigos.